Julia, a lot of relief today for many families, not to mention the struggling tourism sector.
Ash, it's great news for so many groups of people, those families who are separated, who live between Queensland and Greater Sydney, of course, who perhaps didn't catch up over Christmas because of this most recent border closure. For tourism operators, as you say, they're now really hoping to make up for lost time, given that they've missed out on that peak trading period. But it's also good news for people who are just desperate to get away and soak up some beautiful Queensland sunshine. The Premier made that announcement from our tourism capital of Cairns in far north Queensland this morning. She said, now is the time to book your trip.
I know it's been very tough on families, especially with the closure of the Greater Sydney area, but now's the time for families and friends to be reunited. The 1st of February gives some certainty around planning, and of course it also means that you will not need a border declaration pass to come here.
Well, it's great news for a lot of people. The big concern here at the border, people living in border towns, seems to be the lack of assurance. They're just hoping that the border doesn't slam shut once again.
I think everyone was, coming up here, and then it can change like that. So I don't know if it's going to affect people's ideas of do we book something again, because it can all just change so quickly,
So Sydney is Queensland's biggest domestic tourism market. We've missed out on those visitors ever since that border closed again on December the 21st in response to that cluster in Avalon in Sydney's northern beaches. So they're really hoping to make up for lost time, given that hundreds of millions of dollars has already been lost for the sector since that border closure came into effect again. For some areas, like here on the Gold Coast, we know that welcomes traffic from New South Wales, so people can drive over the border without having to flash a border declaration pass on February the 1st. But for our areas in the far north, like Cairns, that are so reliant on international visitors, they're going to struggle, particularly as we head into the Christmas New Year, the Chinese New Year period. So the Premier, she is now calling on the federal government to extend JobKeeper past March.
The federal government could look at those industries that are doing it tough, and maybe JobKeeper does need to be extended for those industries. We know in other industries they have bounced back after COVID, and some industries are doing a lot better than others. But we do know that the tourism industry is hurting, especially those regions which relied heavily on international travellers.
The Premier was asked why she's deciding to reopen Queensland to Greater Sydney now. She says she's confident after speaking to her Chief Health Officer that the state has reached 28 days of no community transmission. And more good news for Queensland, with no new local cases recorded overnight. Ash?
A good day for the Sunshine State, Julia. Thank you for the update.